All right, good morning. Continuing on with my basketball time, I'm going to go ahead and do this before I got to get ready and go. So I just finished the playoffs and the World Championship, or I should say my Big Country Basketball Association Championship, all in one video. Took me about 30 minutes to play the whole playoffs and the championship in about 35 minutes. But I decided while I have time, since I'm in the mood, I'm really loving this in hockey of late. I haven't played any hockey yet. I'll be doing that when I get to the playoffs and that. But these are my teams that are in my league. Now, they're not, these are the same cities that are in the books, but these are my teams, and this is 1952. I've already played seasons as I played and enjoyed it and play tested it. So I'm up to 1953. So this is the 1953 off season, right? So 1952 just wrapped up. 1953 off season, right? And I'll show everybody. This is kind of a tutorial on how to do the off season. It's very simple. So Unionville, this is all that matters is your six top guys. You can have bench players with names. You can actually allocate points to them. Because your sixth man is really your whole bench. But how this off season works, and this is it's fun because it's fun for me. I mean, I can't speak for other people. But how the off season works, let me see if I can get that. There we go. Your sixth man has to move up, and he has to replace somebody on your top five, and that other person must go. So they become free agents or retire, whatever. So Unionville was horrible. They were something like 9-21 or something. This team 5.5D. Jack Button, I'll probably fire him. So first off, we're going to start with Unionville. So Unionville, I think they were 9-20. I can't remember right offhand. Those files are over there. Unionville will first fire Jack Button, right, and hire. Matter of fact, I'll hire. Do I want to hire who we replace on a bad team? Yeah, let's do that. Let's make John O'Neill. So here's what you have to do. You have to move up the sixth man to a starting role. Doesn't matter what starting role. Your sixth man could have been a guard, whatever. He has to come up. So you can't get rid of Peter Ralston yet. So he has to come up and replace a starter. Well, obviously John O'Neill's crap, so we're going to replace John O'Neill. And I'm going to make John O'Neill, as he retires, he'll become the new head coach, as this owner is a glutton for punishment. We're going to go ahead and promote a guy that was a loser. So now my point guard, right, Bill Wiggin, stays. He's a 2. So we don't change any of these guys except for the sixth man moves up. Pete Ralston, chance for him to become a star. However, he's a 0. He is not going to evolve. He'll probably be replaced based on next year. We'll see. Small forward, Homer Tilley. He's a 1+. Power forward, Fred Atkinson. He is a 1+. Victor Norris, center, Vic Norris, is a 0+, and we have to roll up now. So what do we create? You have to move your sixth man up, and then you have to roll up a new sixth man. This could be, again, representing a new talent coming off out of college or picking up free agents. Doesn't make any difference narratively. So what we want to roll here is a 5 or a 6, really. Well, maybe a 1+. So 4, 5, or 6 would be fantastic for a bad basketball team. They're going to have a 1. Well, that's all right. So we'll name this guy Paul Logan. And I rolled a 3. He's going to be a 1. So next year, Paul Logan must move up, and he could replace your center, or he could replace any of you guys, but probably Pete Ralston will be run out of town, as this team's trying to build. So now let's add them up. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, and remember, any plus on the sixth man is an automatic grade higher. The rest pluses are halves. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5. Wow! So they went up a full point, which makes sense. They got rid of a 0 and they recorded a 0, got 1 back. And 6.5 will make them a C. They were a D last year. They were 5.5 D last year. Now this year they're 6.5 C. They've got a 1 6 man. What does that 1 mean to them? For those who don't know what a 1 means, it will add 2 points to your team's total. in the second and fourth quarter. And if they're at home, he will drain a jumper to win the game by 2 points in a tie ball game in overtime. So he can give them a nice chance at victory, is Unionville. So that's how offseason works. The sixth man must replace a starter, and then you get to roll up a new sixth man. I actually have in my records, I actually have 4-man benches, and they do get a trickle down of points when I do my points for. These were my working cards for the playoffs. So I need to redo cards. So I do have stat leaders, etc. I mean, I have point leaders. I don't actually track rebounds, obviously, assists. It's not that kind of game. So anyway, goodbye. Jack Button is fired. They hire a new head coach in John O'Neill, who used to be their shooting guard. Pete Ralston comes off the bench. And by the way, what did Pete do for him last year with a 0? He cost his own team 4 points. And he would he would record a personal foul, sending the other team to the free throw line and giving up a point if it was a game decider. So this guy, Pete Ralston, hurt him. If he again, I'm not going to look back on the 30 games they played last year, but Pete Ralston probably cost them quite a bit. But there's nothing I can do about it. He can only move up. Now next year, Paul Logan can replace him. You have no choice. You cannot keep your sixth man on the bench. He has to come up, as he represents guys that have been groomed to come into play. If I had my bench here in front of me, but I don't know where my other notebook's at, I would have taken one of my guys off the bench and slid him into the 6th spot. So Paul Logan, this name may change to one of my guys that's already on the bench. That would show that they've been developing a young guy. Right. Normally what I do too when I create teams, I'll just simply decide how many years they've been in the league. So Wiggins would be a 6-year man, but I'm not creating them. These teams are already built. I'm just now going through the offseason. So that's Unionville. Let's go ahead and do Paradise City real quick, just so you have a chance to see a second team. So now we have Paradise City. Paradise City was something like 13 and 17. I can't remember exactly, but their 6th man, again, you can see why these teams stunk. Their 6th man was a 0. So again, they're in the same boat. They're kind of hurting. They had 2 2s, but this was not a great team. So Paradise City will keep Carl Quinn, and we'll keep our point guard as a 0. So I'm going to move Dutch McKinley up to replace their 0 point guard. So Dutch McKinley moves up. Shooting guard is Boucher, and Boucher is a stud too. They're a small forward. Billington is solid. He's a defensive. Milt Billington. I don't need to write all this down, so I'm going to transcribe it to new cards. He's a 0+. He's a defensive small forward. Power forward Marty Addison is a 2+, so he's one of the league's top power forwards. And they've got a really good center in Schrader, who is a 1+ defensive center. And now I get to roll up their new 6th man, who normally, again, I would pull him off our bench. Right now, I'm going to leave it blank, so I'm going to grab him off the bench. I don't want to write down 2. So their new 6th man will be 4. He's going to be a 1+, baby. So this team now is, we add him up, and remember, if your 6th man has a plus, he's a full grade better. He's a full point better. So, knowing that, our 6th man is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8.5. Wow. So that is a 2-point jump for them from a 6.5 C team to an 8.5 C team. So they're still C, but they've jumped 2 points. So Paradise City, their 6th man, and again, he's going to come into the starting lineup next year. So again, as we start to, what happens as we play seasons, we start to see teams matriculate, as players matriculate onto the, and you're going to be rotating players on and off naturally as teams get better 6 men, worse 6 men, but they always have to come up. And it makes it a fast way to glance at a team and say, ooh, next year, Travore is going to replace Lynch. Right? So Springfield, I can look at this team this year and say, well, they were only a 7C. But Travore is going to replace their 0. This team's going to have all numbers. And then, depending on the quality of their 6th man, Springfield who was 16 and 14. I think they were 16 and 14. Springfield may immediately become a contender, depending on the quality of the sixth man I roll up. Right, Bayside has a 0-6 man that killed him in the playoffs. Those who watched that video have seen that already. Unfortunately, he's only going to replace a 0 point guard. So depending on the quality of six man in Bayside, they could become a contender. Grand Bay's David Williams will come up. Now he has to replace a player with a plus or a number. He will become the new center, and Everett Hollister will be retired. This team is going to be amazing, and their sixth man may be the difference. So Grand Bay could become a better team, but their bench could get worse, which is fascinating. Coldell, Vernon Bouvard will replace their 0 shooting guard. They will be They will literally be a number with a plus in almost every category. It'll depend then on their bench and their new sixth man. So you can see how fun it can be just to glance and say, okay, this is what we're doing this year. Next year, we're going to see how this team start to take shape. And it only takes you a few minutes to do your entire league. So anyway, quick tutorial on the offseason. Unionville fired Jack Button, brought in John O'Neill. Ralston replaced O'Neill, becomes the coach. And then, of course, one of their bench guys, or are they drafted? Maybe this kid's brand new, coming into the league. He'll be there. So next year, they're going to be a little better. There is a cap. You cannot be higher than 12. And so 12, I think the highest possible total you could have is 13 points. So it's not ever going to be easy to get to, but if you're at 12, you can stay there. If you're over 12, 12 and a half or 13, you have to cut one. You have to make one roster move that would bring your team under that in one move. You're not allowed to make multiple moves. So that might force you in a certain situation to cut a 2+ or something, right? Which is pretty fun. Anyway, it's meant to be fast and simple so you can keep playing and not make this into administrative hell to be juggling all kinds of stuff. Remember, my games are designed so you'll make your own teams, enjoy your own players, your own leagues. Try to enjoy multiple seasons so you can watch teams change and players become stars. So I don't want that to be a burden administratively for most people. So I try to make this as fast and as simple and as fun as possible so they can find out what playing career-based games can feel like. So thanks for watching. Bye-bye.